Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I did not have any cavities today. I was talking to my dentist. He said I was good, but he's always told me, and this is one of the things that I'm going to do when XRP moons. He said that he's going to make all kinds of money on my mouth because I'm a teeth grinder. And I think that I've been grinding my teeth more over the last 2 years because of the digital asset industry, like many of you probably are too. But he said I'm a teeth grinder, so he said at some point he's gonna have to totally revamp my mouth. He said it's gonna be expensive. So anyway, I think we'll be okay. Now, I wanted to show you this, okay? There's a couple of things that came from the Brad Garlinghouse interview on CNN this week that I wanted to make sure that I mentioned. We're not going to go into this article, but this is from Bank XRP. Ripple reveals $54 million in XRP remittances sent from U.S. to Mexico in 1 week. I just wanted to mention that. This is the first major corridor that is opened, is my understanding. But just imagine, folks, I really believe that in 2020, you are slowly going to see Ripple and the Ripple network and the XRP ledger. I think you're going to see all of this lit up like a Christmas tree. And I'm going to expound on that towards the end of this video. I'm going to give you my theory about what is going to happen with all these nodes or validators, whatever you call them. I'm not into the tech side of this. I don't care how the sauce is made. But the overall concept of blockchain and the consensus and having nodes all around the world, I want to give you my theory. It's not a theory. It's what I know is going to happen. All right. But first I wanted to show you another thing from the Brad Garlinghouse interview. He spoke, and this may have been missed by a lot of people. Ripple, for those of you that are new, Ripple represents a company that's going after the payments and settlement use case for XRP. That's a multi trillions of dollars industry. That's one use case that is being worked on for XRP. Okay. But there are others. There are literally thousands of companies that are going to crop up over time that are going to use the XRP ledger in one way or another. One of those is the gaming industry. Brad Garlinghouse touched on it in his interview on CNN, but here is an older video, it's just 33 seconds, where he talks about the gaming industry. Listen to this.
I'll jump in real quickly. I think this is one area where maybe blockchain use is underhyped. I don't think people talk that much about blockchain use in gaming. I think it's incredibly interesting. In terms of which underlying blockchain's most efficient, that's, I think, a question of speed, scale, what have you. I don't think there's going to be a winner take all in that space, but I think certainly you're going to see interesting new projects in 2019 around that. I know there's a couple being built upon the XRP ledger, and I think it's going to be a very interesting space to watch in 2019.
I think one of the companies, I believe it was called Forte, that XR or Spring maybe had invested in. But when I hear that, what I'm thinking about is all the man hours that I've seen my son playing Fortnite, and he's always walking here in my office and he's saying, "Dad, can I use your Visa and buy a skin?" And all a skin is, it's like maybe buying a fancy weapon or buying a certain outfit. And one of the dumber things I've heard is that he will come in here and ask me if he can buy a certain dance, kind of like an end zone dance that you would see in football. They can buy a certain dance so that when they're playing against their friends, they can do some dance that I have paid for with my Visa, for crying out loud. And then they do this dance, and that's what my hard-earned money was spent on. So anyway, I don't ever question these things because I'm an older guy now, and I'm not as with it as I used to be, I guess. But whew. So imagine XRP being used on those platforms to do things like that. All right. Okay, Jesse Lund tweeted this out, and I want you to understand who Jesse Lund. This guy's new. This isn't a jackleg, folks. Most exciting news I've read all year. Solving the crypto spend problem is key to price stability and adoption of digital assets as transactional instruments. Notice how Visa walks back its position on crypto. All right, now this is who Jesse Lund is. Jesse Lund, IBM's global head of blockchain. This is an article from a while back in 2019, June. He's the IBM's head of blockchain for financial services and digital currencies. He's no longer working for the company. They spoke to him, and he said, they said they confirmed it. Then Jesse Lund confirmed. He said, yes, I've left IBM, but I'm still optimistic about payments innovation using blockchain. And if you remember, now read this. This is an interesting part. I guess he was involved in the WorldWire platform. It says, previously a senior president of innovation at Wells Fargo, had enticed 6 banks onto the WorldWire platform. That's the one that used Stellar. Philippines-based RCBC, Brazil's Banco Bradesco, and Banks Busan of South Korea. The WorldWire platform has payment locations in 72 countries, and then it says, prior to joining IBM from mid-2015 to 2017, Lund was part of the executive steering committee of the distributed ledger technology provider R3, where he helped build partnerships and represented Wells Fargo's interests on R3's growing Corda platform. Folks, you see how this all ties together? And then the last line, asked if Lund's departure would affect the Stellar WorldWire partnership. Jed McCaleb, co-founder of Stellar, told CoinDesk, no, we are still full steam ahead with WorldWire. All right. So you see how important Jesse Lund is. He's not coming out of nowhere telling you how important this is. And this is that same article. Visa grants Coinbase power to issue Bitcoin, Ether, and XRP debit cards. The membership cuts out a crucial and expensive middleman from the process of issuing a debit card that lets users spend their own Bitcoin, Ether, and XRP anywhere Visa is accepted. Anywhere Visa is accepted. And that was actually from the article. Issuing a debit card that lets users spend their own Bitcoin and Ether and XRP anywhere Visa is accepted. Does that make you feel good owning XRP? Knowing that, it sure makes me feel good. I mean, wow. Okay, now there's this. Remember, there's been a lot of speculation over the course of the last really few years, couple of years, that Ripple, we knew Ripple was working with Bank of America, testing at least. Okay, but I wanted to play you this. A few months back, there was someone discovered a Ripple patent, okay, on Twitter. It was a Bank of America patent, and then it got all the way from social media to when Brad Garlinghouse was being interviewed on Bloomberg. Listen to this.
There have been reports that Bank of America has taken out a patent that suggests it's using the Ripple ledger for its currency transactions. Can you comment on that?
I saw that.
Can you confirm or kill the speculation?
I can neither confirm nor kill. Look, we are, I think, widely known to be working with a lot of banks around the world, and certainly some of the largest banks already in the world are customers of ours today. And we'll continue to work with big banks around the world. And I too was surprised by that patent application because we have not announced anything.
All right, well.
Okay. So I think it looks pretty clear where he's coming from on that. He can't say anything. He's got NDAs and all of that out the wazoo, but it's very obvious when you look at his body language and everything there. It's pretty obvious where he's coming from. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because X-Lighting the Way had sent me this. Sam I Am, who goes by @GreenEggsAndHam on Twitter, definite follow. He's a YouTuber who really does some good deep dives, and so he did a deep dive. I guess a few hours ago. Bank of America and Santander joined forces to use RippleNet and XRP. I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but from what I've seen, he found some documents that show that basically Bank of America is admitting that they're on RippleNet. Okay, so go give him a subscribe. He's To the Lifeboats on YouTube, and go watch his video. And then, so this is his tweet that he put out, and he's at Ham, Eggs, and Sam. Well, supposedly Bank of America has finally admitted they've joined RippleNet. I wouldn't call it confirmed, but possible. We've known it for a long time, though. Now, here's what's interesting. He gets a response from Shane Nixon. I met Shane Nixon, and I actually had dinner with Shane Nixon at Swell. Shane Nixon comes in and says this: Sam, great video today. By the way, thanks. I can confirm that at Swell, there was an internal meeting site where I saw a Bank of America person mention that they were a proud member of RippleNet. I didn't out them because I knew it wasn't official. Tried to set up a meeting with them also. So, how about that, folks? Let me ask you this. The company that's working on the primary use case for your digital asset, are they in partnership with Bank of America? Because Ripple is. And you know what the next step is, don't you? All right. So let's keep following that same thing. Stewart XRP put this out. Just a reminder. Burla says Ripple has developed the technology with scalability in mind. Deploying something to Standard Chartered, Santander, or Bank of America requires scaling to hundreds of thousands of transactions per second, originally included in the design 2018. Mr. Burla says that Ripple developed its technology with scalability in mind to deploy something for da-da-da-da-da. So there you go. That's from Ashish Burla. Now, this is from Bank XRP, a video of Danny Arnada from Ripple, or I think it may have been Aranda, I can't remember, from Ripple. This is a video from back March of 2018, and we'll watch at least a little bit of this.
A whole dive into Ripple and what it is, where's it going. You think the economy is helping Ripple? I mean, we had a phenomenal jobs report. How does it impact a cryptocurrency like Ripple? Does it impact a cryptocurrency like Ripple?
That's a really great question. I think the economy in general has been looking towards new avenues and ways to invest, and certainly the tech sector has benefited from that. And I think as blockchain, as a sector on the vanguard of technology, I think people are trying to increasingly think about what is next for the internet, what is next for these online services, and is blockchain really going to be transformative towards them?
You think because the economy has been so strong, people are just looking for other ways or other places to put their money, and crypto has benefited from something like that?
Potentially, but I think people are also just curious about where this goes. Like, what's actually going to be the utility? What is going to be like the functional economic use case for this really exciting new technology, and how is it going to be applied?
30-second elevator pitch on Ripple.
Sure thing.
Go.
So Ripple is a blockchain company, and we're highly focused on solving one problem. And the reason we're focused on one problem is we think if you're going to be the best of the world at something, you've got to have a focus. And the focus is on cross-border payments. We want to make money move the way that information does on the internet today, so that you're able to move funds from the US over to Japan to Australia, versus the way it works today where it takes 3 to 5 days and it's very slow and expensive and not very transparent.
Ripple versus Bitcoin. And there's so much debate out there, and I cannot tell you how many articles I read. One's better than the other. Your perspective.
Oh man, we're from this space. Things like Bitcoin are in our DNA. We definitely take inspiration from it, but there are some key differences. So, both are decentralized distributed ledger technologies. Both have a cap on the number of digital assets and the actual number of tokens in there. But the key difference there, I think, Ripple is very much focused on a transaction use case and being very scalable and fast around that use case as well. So using XRP, you can move transactions in about 2 to 5 seconds, and it's scalable until about 1,500 transactions per second.
Do you think one wins out over another? Is there a race to who's tops?
We're fundamental believers in interoperability. We support a protocol called Interledger, which we co-created, that's now governed within the web standards body, the W3C, and we really think there's going to be an internet of value where you're going to see multiple different blockchains and ledger systems interoperate with each other. So we think there will be some degree of specialization, and again, we're going to have XRP and Ripple as a company focus on payments and transactions.
We hear from a lot of people, obviously there's a lot of different cryptos floating around out there. Do you believe there will be consolidation? What will be the M&A opportunities? Maybe starting to see it a little bit, but Is this where we're going?
That's a really interesting question. I don't think anyone knows what M&A looks like, right, in a global network where they're able to move money more effectively on behalf of their customers. And they're doing real things with the technology. They're actually moving money around the world. We have about 100 customers today, includes Western Union, MoneyGram, Bank of America, Standard Chartered, and Santander. So really trying to build up.
That's the part I wanted you to hear. I just couldn't remember exactly where it was. But so they've admitted in the past, and maybe slip-ups, we don't know. But Bank of America has been there. Now I want to move on to what I'm excited about, what I really wanted to talk to you about here towards the end of this video. This was a tweet this morning from Brad Garlinghouse. He congratulates Kahina Van Dyke. Now, Kahina Van Dyke worked for Ripple for the last, I think, at least a couple of years. She was from Facebook, and she worked, I believe she was in their global markets. I can't remember exactly her title. But it says, we're glad that Brad Garlinghouse is tweeting out that she's leaving and she's now going to be at Standard Chartered. We keep seeing this pattern. It's almost like these people work for Ripple to find out everything about Ripple and how it works. And then it's almost like they're placed in these institutions where RippleNet will be running. That's what it appears to be to me. So he's congratulating her. And then he says, we're glad you'll only be a node on the network away over at Standard Chartered. Now, and then she's announcing that she's going to be at Standard Chartered. And here's what she's going to do. It says, Kahina Van Dyke, one of the leading women in fintech sector, has joined Standard Chartered's corporate, commercial, and institutional banking division as global head of digital channels and client data analytics. She joins from Ripple, Okay? Now, but what I'm focused on is what Brad Garlinghouse said. Because here's what I believe, folks, and I'll spell it out for you. Here's what I think you're going to see. I think this year, starting this year, you're going to see it's going to be like dominoes falling, and I believe you're going to see a cascading of not only NDAs expiring and banks announcing that they're live on RippleNet and a lot of them on ODL, but I think you're going to see nodes light up like freaking Christmas trees, and they're going to be nodes for large banks. They're going to be nodes for places like the SEC, the IMF, central banks around the world. I think that it's going to look like Christmas, and it might very well be Christmas for our pocketbooks as you see this. That's what I think. That's where I think all this is going. I think that individuals around the world will be able to have their own nodes and operate their own nodes. But I think that a part of the plan, and this is just me talking, I've always felt like a part of the plan would be to have major banks, major financial institutions, major government entities that run nodes on Ripple nodes, okay? And I believe that this is part of the plan. I believe that it's always been part of the plan. Now, don't take my word for it. Here's Stuart Alderati, Ripple's general counsel, who every time I mention his name from now on, by the way, I always want to mention, remember who this guy is. Stuart Alderati was general counsel for CIT Bank. Do you know who started CIT Bank? Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary of the United States, started CIT Bank and was on the board when this guy was appointed to be the general counsel. Steve Mnuchin then left to go become Treasury Secretary, and then Stuart Alderati, who I saw at Swell, I didn't get to meet him, but Stuart Alderati then goes to be he leaves CIT to be general counsel where? At Ripple. This is Stuart Alderati speaking.
XRP sits, as I said, on an open, permissionless ledger. How do I know that it's open and permissionless? Because the Chief Technology Officer at Ripple tells me it is. He explains it to me, but I also have hard evidence. The SEC announced about a month or two ago that they're going to establish a node on the XRP ledger and other open and permissionless ledgers. The SEC didn't call Ripple to ask permission to do that. They're just going to do that.
Right. There's going to be a lot more organizations that are, quote, not going to ask Ripple permission. You're going to see, there's no telling. You're going to see IMF, World Bank, Central Bank of whatever, Saudi Arabia. You just sit back and watch and see if I was right. I would put a significant portion of my holdings on that fact. Watch it happen. And it's going to be a cascading effect. Don't be surprised if you see Bank of America with a node. In fact, write it down. You heard it here first. Bank of America will have a node if they don't already. I think they probably do already. They just haven't lit it up. All right. Now, this is coming from a person. I'm just looking at the overall, the big picture of how I've watched all of this evolve from 2013 to now. I'm not talking to you from the perspective of someone who knows how to operate a validator or a node or whatever, however all that works. I just know that the whole idea of consensus is that you have all of these nodes and there has to be a consensus to make these transactions happen. And that's enough for me. But I know how the world works. And my gut instinct since 2013 till now my gut is screaming at me that this is how this is going to go down. You're going to see nodes lit up like a Christmas tree, and it's going to be government organizations and major financial institutions, maybe MoneyGram as well, around the world are going to be running these nodes. It's the only thing that makes sense. Well, just to illustrate this to you, I decided I would come to Ripple's website. Now, keep paying attention, folks. I'm about to show you something interesting. Just so you can see me do it, I'm going to hit the refresh button on this page. And just so you know, the page I'm going to is under Resources XRP. Okay? So I started scrolling down this because I wanted to show you the map just to illustrate to you what I think will happen. And this was what I was trying to get to. And I wanted to show you, if you can imagine, okay, a Bank of America node here, or, maybe way over here, the Central Bank of Japan might be, or SBI might be running a node here. That's what you're going to see all over the freaking world. Write it down. I said it out loud. Hold me to it. That's what's going to go down. You'll have the SECs up here in New York, all over the world, folks. Okay, that way nobody has to trust any one person. Okay, all right, or any one entity or bank. Everybody's on the network together. All right, now, so I was on this page and I decided I would start scrolling down and just looking around. And I get down here to XRP price and volume. Now, I've refreshed this about 5 times. Let me refresh it again. We'll come back down. The price that they have on the Ripple website for XRP is 45 cents. And I said, well, maybe this is just crazy. It's just this page, some kind of weird thing. And then I clicked on this XRP market performance and went down here. It's still 45 cents. So I'm asking myself, where does Ripple get their price discovery? Now, this could just be a glitch, but I've seen this glitch pop up in the past. If you look at the markets, the coin market cap and all those places, XRP is somewhere 29, 30 cents last time I checked. But on Ripple's website, it's 45 cents. And there's one question that I've always asked. SBI Holdings owns 10.5% of XRP, okay, or 10.5% of Ripple. SBI virtual currencies has been operated for the last year or so over in Japan. We know for a fact that we do not get price discovery from SBI virtual currency. You don't get it on CoinMarketCap. You don't get it on Fiat Leak. We've contacted those companies. Those companies say that they don't get any response from SBI virtual currencies. And I've told you before, Cryptopolis has said it, you're not getting real XRP price discovery. So when I see this, I just wonder, is Ripple getting XRP real price discovery? That's the first thing that pops in my mind when I see this. But this is an interesting conversation. Okay, maybe it's a glitch. Still an interesting conversation, and I'm glad to talk about it. Now, I want to show you, this is from XRP Arcade, which is Leonidas's website. Great resource for the XRP community and for anything having to do with Ripple. He's got all kinds of information. What I'm showing you here is the Ripple ecosystem. These are just some of the banks that work with Ripple right now. Okay, and you'll notice the one that Kahina Van Dyke just went to, Standard Chartered, and Brad Garlinghouse just told you that they will be operating a node. I mean, that was pretty much what he said, isn't it? She's just a node away. Well, go ahead and write it down, because all these others, and I'm not saying all, but you're going to, like I just said, you're going to start seeing nodes. This is my prediction. You're going to start seeing nodes of not just these banks and financial institutions light up around the world, but you're going to see, whether it's the SEC, the World Bank, IMF, I don't know which ones, but it's going to be a lot of them, central banks. That's how this is going down. That's the digital asset investor's prediction, if you want a prediction. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family that I said, and I'll say it again, that the nodes that are going to light up around the world, from banks, central banks, government organizations, it's going to look like Christmas tree time, folks. All right, thank you for listening.